Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Thank you for the slides. First of all, I just wanted to thank Senator Crystal Asige for this really important message, as Gail mentioned. So thanks for that. And I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Roxanne Garrana, and I work at DT Global. For those who aren't familiar with the organization, DT Global is an international development consultancy. It has 5 corporate offices globally and about 300 projects that are live at the moment across 93 countries. And the high volume transport program that we're going to talk about today has been precisely implemented by DT Global for the past 7 years. Where should I click? Is it here? There we go. So to start with, I'll just give you a brief outline of the session. Thank you, Cynthia. I think I probably wasn't aiming. Thank you so much. So to start with, I'll just give you the outline of how our session will be conducted today, so you have a glimpse of the course of the presentations. We'll kick off with an overview of the High Volume Transport Program, or HVT. We'll then focus very briefly on our portfolio on inclusive transport, and then we'll dive into the research projects presentations with our brilliant panel of speakers who will be moderated by Gail. So very briefly, the High Volume Transport Research Applied Program is a 7-year program. Unfortunately, it's coming to an end at the end of January. It's fully funded by FCDO UK aid. So the UK government will have a follow-on program that should build on the results accomplished so far and cover the gaps that we've encountered. And as Gail said, the work is mainly focused in Africa and South Asia, and its main aim is ultimately to contribute to greener, safer, more accessible transport in low and middle income countries. In terms of key stakeholders that we've engaged, they're quite diverse, so researchers and academia, but also national transport departments, road authorities, and some civil society organizations. And this has always been a big challenge because, as both Gail and Crystal alluded to, getting the research to the right hands of those who have the power to change, that's what matters. In terms of our focus areas, we have had research on inclusion, so not only of gender inclusion, but of people with disabilities, climate change, both adaptation and mitigation, crisis response, as was the case of our COVID response grants, access and infrastructure, and policy and planning. And here on this slide, we just wanted to give you a little glimpse of some of our projects that we've undertaken, 122, if I'm not mistaken, in total. And some of them you might have heard already. There's Road Note 31, which is the most downloadable document from our website on construction of roads with climate change as a consideration. The 2 of our flagship projects are the Transport Decarbonization Index, being led by our partner SLOCAT, and Access to Climate Finance, being led by our partners WRI. So some of the topics actually touched earlier on in the session before lunch. So you can access any publications, reports from all our projects from the website of HVT. We'll share the link at the very end, and it's also mentioned in our banners, all publicly available. So please use it and abuse it so we can actually see impact change. Now, just a laser focus on our inclusive transport. HVT obviously hasn't solved the problem, but we've tried to contribute to the space with 9 gender projects in total that we've commissioned to date, and as a consequence, we've published over 20 reports in journal papers. The respective research has been disseminated at over 50 gender-focused events, such as like this one from Flone Initiative, so I'm grateful to always be represented. And to date, we have spent over £1.5 million solely on gender-based research. So out of curiosity, about 58% of HVT citations in academic papers are precisely related with these topics of inclusion, and this just shows the need for more research within transport on the inclusion aspects. And nearly coming to an end, these are the titles of our, not only the gender portfolio, but the inclusivity transport portfolio. So you can see a lot of projects undertaken in the past years. And some of these, and I'll name a few, like the Empower program and the Road Note 21, will be showcased today by our wonderful speakers. So we're quite excited to share those findings with you and the challenges encountered. Lastly, we just wanted to pinpoint to you some of our resources. We left a pile of our leaflets at the registration stand, so you probably already have seen. And we also wanted to invite you to listen to the program's podcast. It's called Reimagining Motion. It's available on the usual platforms, including Spotify, and we have a whole series dedicated to more inclusive public transport systems. At the very end of the session, if you don't mind, we will ask you just to please scan and complete the survey form so we can improve our forthcoming sessions. And lastly, here is the link to our website. So I hand over to you, Gail. Thank you. Thank you for listening.